You probably know how frameworks work, but I'm going to show you how Qwik is fundamentally different. Let's start by looking at this very simple application. Here, I can interact with the buttons, I can increment and decrement values, I can add items to the shopping cart, I can see what the shopping cart contains, and I have a clock that updates every 1 second. Clearly, this application requires JavaScript. But what if I told you Qwik can do all this interactivity with no initial JavaScript? Qwik uses something called resumability. Notice there is no initial JavaScript. But as the user starts to interact with the application, JavaScript shows up. And specifically, only the code necessary for performing that specific operation shows up. So as the user interacts with the application, more code shows up that is necessary to make the application interactive. And it is a key difference for Qwik. Now I know what you're thinking. Doesn't it mean that the user will have to wait for the network request? Let's see how Qwik applications handle initial load. Now let's go and pretend that we have no network after the initial load. Even though we have no network, you can still interact with the applications and the code shows up. How is that possible? Qwik applications come with a service worker. The job of the service worker is to pre-populate the browser's cache such that all JavaScript is available eagerly. When a user interacts with the application, the code is already in the browser's cache and it instantaneously shows up in the main thread even if there is no network connection. There are several benefits to the service worker approach. First, the service worker can keep the main thread free for your application. Second, there's a big difference between downloading the code, as in the case of the service worker, versus executing the code, as is the case with hydration-based frameworks. And lastly, the service worker downloads only a small portion of the application needed for interactivity versus all of the components on a page needed by hydration-based frameworks. But how does Qwik know what portion of the application needs to be eagerly downloaded into the browser? Out of the box, Qwik comes with a set of heuristics that give it a reasonable starting point. But we can do better. We can collect real-time statistical data on how users actually use this application. We can then use this information to solve two problems. First, we can learn that if a particular function is used, there is a very high probability that the second function will be needed as well. This can then be used to create ideal bundles. This minimizes waterfall effects. The second kind of information we can collect is which bundles are needed in the lifecycle of the application. This can provide information in which specific order the bundles need to be downloaded to the browser so that the button that is very likely to be clicked by the user gets downloaded first. This happens automatically as part of the build system without any effort on a developer. This is how Qwik delivers instant applications no matter what scale you have.